এখন কারো যদি কোনো কোশ্চেন থাকে প্লিজ আপনাদের কোশ্চেন করতে পারেন, করতে পারেন অথবা আপনাদের পরিচয় দিয়ে কোশ্চেন করেন প্লিজ।
I have one question. For example, like you are in the highway, you are driving a car, but police pull over you for the over speeding, and you are in a like asylum process. So still like someone can, I mean the immigration can deport you for this reason, so for speeding violation.
Well, they can't deport you. Only a person who has a removal order from an immigration judge who has not appealed that order to the Board of Immigration Appeals, or has appealed to the Board of Immigration Appeals, but the BIA has dismissed their case and didn't file a petition for review with the Court of Appeals, or the Court of Appeals didn't issue them a stay of removal. Only those persons who are applying for asylum can be removed. I think what you should be more concerned about is being detained. And unfortunately, yes, even if you have been granted a bond, even if nobody tried to detain you when you first were put into removal proceedings, even if you are not in removal proceedings, if you get picked up by the police and for whatever reason it's not a sanctuary city, they're cooperating with the police, they say this guy's here without what appears to be a lawful status, ICE can take you into custody, and until either ICE gives you a bond or you get before an immigration judge and you get a bond from an immigration judge, you're going to be in jail. So the moral of the story is, don't get arrested.
Mr. Michael, I have one question. If any immigration and customs enforcement officer arrested somebody from our community people, so what kind of assistance you provide to the detention center? Because detention center by the immigration customs and enforcement officer not allowed to go inside. Before 2 days I have seen that one mayor, he is not eligible to go inside with the trespassing, with the trespassing. So you have any permission to help the detention center, any community people arrested by the immigration customs and enforcement officer? Thank you.
It all depends. It all depends. It depends on whether or not this person is in expedited removal. If the person is in expedited removal, then they have no right to a bond. Only get a bond if the CBP or the ICE, in its discretion, decides they're going to give them a bond. So that person, I would not be able to help get out of jail. I could help him prepare for his hearing, or I could help him prepare for his credible fear interview if he was subject to expedited removal.
I'm asking about the bond.
Well, again, if your person is an remember what I was talking about before. The people who are in expedited removal have much less rights than people who are not in expedited removal, people who are in regular removal. So, my question would be, is this a person who entered the United States without inspection? If so, can he prove that he's been here for at least 2 years? If he can prove that he's been here for at least 2 years, then he's entitled to a hearing before an immigration judge. If he can't, then he may well be subject to expedited removal. I would ask, is he a parolee? Is he an arriving alien? If the answer to any of these questions is yes, again, he's not eligible for a bond. People who are eligible for a bond are people who entered on visas, or people who entered without inspection more than 2 years ago. Those people, I can help request a bond.
Thank you.
I have one more question. That is, if we see our community, there's a lot of green card holder, but they are afraid to travel to their own country because of these current circumstances. So do you have any suggestion for them? Because if they have valid green card and they have the valid permission, is there any suggestion for you? For them?
First of all, I'd ask if they've been convicted of crimes involving moral turpitude. If they've been convicted of crimes of moral turpitude, for which the maximum punishment period exceeded a year, or if they were actually sentenced, including a suspended sentence of 6 months or more, I would say, no, don't travel, you're inadmissible. When you come back, you're going to be put into removal proceedings and quite possibly subject to mandatory detention. Those people definitely should not go. But if they have not been convicted of a crime involving moral turpitude, or if the crime that they've been convicted of is only they want to be convicted of one offense, which is a misdemeanor, and they weren't actually sentenced to more than 6 years and 6 months in prison, then I would say that the only other reasons I could imagine why they wouldn't want to travel internationally would be either A, they have a history of just coming to the United States for a few weeks every year, and they want to live in some place. In which case, they try to come back and might be fine. Or number two, they're supporters of some violent group which claiming to society as a terrorist organization. And unfortunately, the U.S. definition of terrorist organization is not how the term is commonly used. When we think of a terrorist as a person who attacks civilians. But under the government's definition of terrorist, anybody who uses violence, even self-defense, is considered terrorist. So long as their actions will be considered illegal, either under the laws of that country, or is a member of an organization which advocates that the government should use the laws. So virtually anybody who's for any kind of liberation is but you're probably going to look terrorists. Those people. So, long story short, I think the best thing would be to consider immigration. Many people can travel internationally without being concerned. Some people have been removed from procedure for 180 days, not just status. That's gone too. But
স্টুডেন্টদের যে বিষয়টা স্টুডেন্টসদের
that's a long, hard much better. Just go.
Someone wants to know that recently a lot of students, their cities and their